Hey friends, welcome back to Million Dollar Marketing. I'm Jody, and it's so good to be here with you today because today's episode is actually really big. I have a lot going on in this episode. It's not actually just a podcast episode. Today's the start of something new, really. It really is a new brand, a new offer, and a new way of doing business. But before I actually tell you what's next, I want to share with you the reality of what's been going on behind the scenes. So, this past season for me has been a refining one, right? And if you think about it, we are refined in the fire, in life and in business. And if I'm being honest, I've had moments of burnout. I've had moments of questioning literally everything, of recognizing that some of the old strategies, they don't work anymore. They're not cutting it anymore. They need to hit the cutting room floor, right? So like posting daily without a strategy that converts is exhausting. Churning out content, but wondering where the leads are, super frustrating. Doing everything right that the gurus are telling you to do and still not seeing momentum. I've been there. I have been there. And I realized what was missing. It was clarity, alignment, and a real strategy that turns visibility into results. So, what is working right now? Let's lean into that for a second. So, what's working right now is marketing that's rooted in intentionality, intimacy, and emotional connection. It's the next era of marketing. Ads that build trust instead of just bringing traffic, funnels that guide instead of confuse, and messaging that feels human, not hypey or bro markety, right? We don't like that. Systems that sell without selling your soul. We've seen it work with clients like Emily and Valerie. So Emily, she launched her ads. We started seeing high quality leads coming through her webinar in just days. Her message was clear, her offer was strong, and the results that followed because of a foundation that she built was really, really good. So let me tell you about that a little bit. We were running ads to an evergreen webinar. On this, she was pitching a call. So book a call to talk about this high ticket offer. The problem was not a lot of people were booking calls. What was it that they needed to hear to book a call? Fortunately, Emily already knew this, but we helped uncover that that was the problem, that they weren't hearing what they needed to hear in order to feel confident booking a call with Emily. And so I said, all right, they need to hear, we've uncovered that they need to hear these things. So how can we intentionally put that content in front of them? She was like, okay, I already actually have this in a content series, a YouTube series or a podcast series. And I said, that's it. We're going to embed these episodes on a landing page, no opt-in required because we already got their email addresses with the webinar opt-in. We just need to give them that messaging that they need to hear in order to be ready to book a call. So we retargeted our webinar leads back to this content page, no opt-in. They get to consume the content. We're speaking directly to their problem and their pain points and how she can overcome it in this call, right? Not like trying to sell them something, but just in this free call. Book this call. I'm going to help you overcome this problem. And so it built enough trust. At the bottom was a link to book the call, and we were getting booked calls. And we took her lead to sale acquisition time from like 120 days from lead to conversion down to 30 days. Now, if you're paying $10 for a webinar lead and they sit on your list for 120 days, they're not like as valuable, right? They're sitting there for a long time consuming your content. But what if you could intentionally nurture them with the content that they needed to hear in order to convert in the same month that you acquired them as a lead? That is so much more powerful to convert those leads faster. We basically took that lead and nurtured it intentionally to get it to convert. We developed that system with her. We launched it, deployed it, and we proved it as a way that would work. Now, one time might seem like a little bit of luck, but I didn't want to rely on luck. I didn't want to do that. So Valerie, my client Valerie, was spinning her wheels with content, lots of content, posting all the time. We helped clarify her offer. We simplified her funnel, and then we launched another podcast style nurture sequence that brought in dream clients. So real leads, real sales, Again, a 5-part coaching series or 5-part podcast series on how to choose the right coaching certification program, positioning her in every single episode as the answer. But it was like, what are the questions that you should be asking yourself before you purchase a coaching certification program? You ask this, this is your answer. We do this, right? So we're solving the problem. We're positioning her as the authority. And she already had this content too. It was just sitting there in the vault, never being used. So this wasn't even a heavy lift for these clients. It was already there. And all we had to do was bring it out of the vault and put it on a page and run the traffic to it. And the booked calls came pouring in. Real leads, real conversions. Both are examples of what happens when you stop guessing and you start marketing with intention. I love it. I absolutely love it. So today I'm officially introducing you, dun, 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 to $1 Million Marketing. Now, you've come to know and love this podcast and this show as the $1 Million Marketing Podcast. This is more than a rebrand, though, because now instead of Sidini Marketing for my agency, I'm stepping full into the era of $1 Million Marketing, full into the power of that name for so many reasons. So again, this is more than just a rebrand. It's a movement away from bro funnels, vanity metrics, duct taped marketing tactics. We help high ticket coaches, course creators, and expert entrepreneurs shorten the path from stranger to soulmate client, go from 180-day buyer journeys to 30 days or less, and build trust on autopilot using content they already have. What's the crown jewel of the next era of this business is the podcast series funnel. It's actually not a full-blown podcast. It's just like what I told you with Emily and Valerie. It's a 5-episode at max, high impact nurture sequence that positions you as the go-to expert. It builds trust, leads your audience straight to the sale. We call it the intimacy sequence. You get 5 done for you podcast episodes, a branded landing page, and a full retargeting ad strategy. This is what real nurture looks like in the new era of marketing. Not more noise, more resonance. I'm going to say that again. Not more noise, more resonance. You're going to resonate for longer and resonate more deeply with your soulmate clients. So if you're listening here and you're thinking, I'm creating content, but it's not converting. I'm running ads, but no one's booking calls, or I'm ready to scale, but I don't want to burn out. I don't want to have to post my face off every single day, right? Here's 3 action steps that you can take right now, takeaways from this episode of the $1 Million Marketing Podcast. Number 1, audit your funnel. Is it guiding your audience or is it confusing them? Okay. Confusing means they don't understand what problem it is that you solve for them. So if you can't even name that, what is the problem that you solve? Then they're not going to trust you with their problems because you can't even name it, right? So we have to have very clear messaging, not confusion. Confusion will not convert. We have to be clear. All right. So again, clarify your message. That's step number 2. Number 1, audit your funnel. Number 2, clarify your message. Can someone land on your page and know what you do in 10 seconds or less? Right? So that's a compelling headline issue. We've got to make sure that we have an emotional, benefit-driven headline that identifies the problem and positions your offer as the outcome. An emotional, benefit-driven headline that identifies the problem and positions your offer as the outcome, as the solution. Okay. So that needs to happen in 10 seconds or less, meaning on that headline above the fold. Okay. That's number 2. And number 3, map your nurture. So what's the journey from scroll to sale? Are you just building trust are you building trust or are you just sharing tips, right? Are you just posting your face off on Instagram, showing up, and maybe you're even using AI to do some of your content? Because let's be real, like it can be a struggle to try to put out enough content to get visible, right? Or pray that the algorithm picks up your content and posts it in front of the right people. It's really, really important that you end up intentionally nurturing your audience with that podcast series. And so that's what I invite you to do. Okay. So if you need help with any of that, it's exactly what we do. You heard me talk about the headline. You heard me talk about discovering what it is that the problem it is that you solve for your ideal client. We can help with all of that. I have been in the online marketing game for a decade, and I've got a lot of war wounds. I have a lot of battles, and this strategy has been battle tested not only for the two clients that I mentioned, but we've deployed this podcast intentional nurture strategy for multiple other clients. I use it in my business too. If you've landed on any of my pages anywhere, you're probably being retargeted with my podcast series because I'm not going to talk the talk without walking the walk. So I use that as intentional nurture in my business as well. So I really do believe that we are stepping into a new era of marketing, one that's human, actually. And that might be surprising to say because there's so much AI involved in marketing. I use it in my marketing for real. Like, I'm not going to deny that, but we need an era that's human, that has connection, that is strategic, that feels good and drives results. So if you are done with the content hamster wheel, and if you want a marketing system that finally makes sense, and if you're ready to scale without selling your soul, we are your team. We're the $1 Million Marketing Team. So head to $1,000,000marketingteam.com or tap the link in the show notes or around this video or this audio to book a discovery call. Spots are limited. Once we're full, we're going to pause on onboarding until next quarter. I really am and have been incredibly focused on creating an amazing deliverable experience for my clients. It really is an experience. It's not just come in and have us be your ads agency. It's a marketing experience from beginning to end. In fact, one of my clients actually gave us a Michelin star review. Her name was Jennifer, just for our onboarding process. We hadn't even started running ads for her yet. And she gave us a Michelin star review. She said, "This is incredible. I feel very well cared for. I don't feel like I came in and just got pushed off to someone else. I stay as the lead strategist on every single account." So we are $1 Million Marketing, where results are better than reels and strategy scales and your message actually matters. All right. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of $1 Million Marketing. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you know of someone who would benefit from hearing this, make sure that you actually share this video, tag a friend in the comments, subscribe, rate, and review. That always helps with our stats as well. All right. We'll talk to you next time.